So good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Laurie-Anne Sayles. I'm honored to serve as one of your 4 at-large council members. I thought it was important for us to have this conversation. We're having 5 community conversations across the county to look at the intersection of mental health, economic development, and also our stakeholder engagement. You know, as the lead for eliminating disparities in public health, all which are keys to ensuring that we eliminate disparities, I want to ensure that we are having dialogue and connections to ensure that we are continuing to partner with the stakeholders in our community and raising awareness about all of the fantastic programs and services offered by our county. And so, all right, so I just want to briefly give you an overview. This evening's event will run from 6 to 8. As you saw when you joined us, we had some resource tables here. Please visit the tables after the program, and just wanted to thank all of our stakeholders that are here. You have met our Regional Services Center Director. We have our police commanders here. Thank you so much for being here. We also have members from the Chambers of Commerce, Department of Recreation, Health and Human Services, Montgomery County Public Schools, WorkSource Montgomery, and others who have all contributed to helping us coordinate these conversations all across the county. As far as the resource tables, if you haven't had a chance to visit the resource tables, we have Community Reach, the Department of Recreation, Interfaith Works, MoCo Empower Her. We also have the Latino Health Initiative, the Asian American Health Initiative, the Children's Opportunity Alliance, and Crittenton Services of Greater Washington. The format for this evening, we will discuss 3 topics, as I mentioned: community safety, youth engagement, business, and community partnerships. Okay, so nationally, crime rates have fallen since 2020 to a 50-year low. However, here in Montgomery County, crime has increased for a 3rd straight year. Early estimates from this past year show that crime rates have gone down, but this is still a significant concern as we aim to foster safer and more vibrant communities for everyone. In 2020 and 2019, Montgomery County's juvenile-related violent crime increased 95% since 2019, and robberies specifically increased 108%. According to 2023 data from Montgomery County Police Department, with schools out for summer, it's essential that we keep our students engaged in positive youth development. Furthermore, I don't know if anyone knows, if you can tell me by a show of hands, who knew that the state of Maryland will be building the most expensive infrastructure project over the next 5 years? It's $1 billion. Thank you, Commander. $1 billion for a new prison. Not the place or the investment that we want to see any of our kids fall prey to. Over the next 5 years, this $1 billion project is expected to exceed $100 million per year, $443 million more than initial estimates. Also at the state level, the General Assembly recently passed a law this past session that will take effect in November that extends the juvenile justice system to youth as young as 10 years old who will be arrested for serious crimes. It's the HB 814 Juvenile Law Reform. These 2 alarming statistics show the urgency for investing in our youth. According to 2023 data from the Montgomery County Police Department, juvenile-related violent crime has increased by 95% in Montgomery County since 2019. and robbery specifically increased by 108%. In our school system, 1 in 5 students in Montgomery County are chronically absent. Rates decrease in K through 8 and increase in high school. We also know that there are significant gaps in achievement and literacy rates for our Black and brown students, with 38.5% of our Black and African American students and 65% of Hispanic and Latino students are still below or well below the benchmark for literacy rates. Overall, MCPS's 2023 graduation rate decreased 0.71 percentage points from 89.6 to 89.6 from 90% in the 2021-22 school year. As our future workforce, we need to ensure our students are actively engaged in school so they can learn and stay out of trouble. Montgomery County saw a 78% spike in youth overdoses from 2021 to 2022. The Department of Health and Human Services has worked so hard to make Narcan more accessible to our students and for all individuals across the community. Youth overdoses in Montgomery County are the lowest in Maryland, but they are rising. However, opioid overdoses are decreasing. The Department of Health and Human Services is continuing to make Narcan more accessible through investments in our budget and also through our mobile crisis units. Regarding economic development, there are 25,000 fewer jobs in the county than before the pandemic. We have passed legislation on the council and have incentivized job growth. However, we must still catch up with our regional counterparts on this issue. Now that we have started to think about the context of this evening's discussions, I want to turn this over to our Regional Services Center Director, Mr. Rosario, to provide a brief welcome, and then we'll hear from our elected officials.
Good evening, everyone. It's hard to follow some of those stats, right? It can cause a lot of thought, give you a lot of sort of pause to reflect, right? Contemplate what a lot of that means, and we're gonna get a chance to do that. So my job right now is just to say welcome to this event this evening. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ruben Rosario. As stated, I'm the Upcounty Regional Services Director. Thank you for spending your Tuesday evening here with us at the center. I know that just earlier today, I was on a radio interview with the county's Latino PIO, Lorna Virgili, I believe is her last name, right? Did I get that right? Yeah, Lorna Virgili, that's right. She was pressing me anyway, so. And one of the topics that came up was how when elected officials first get into office, they often go on sort of a tour of their community or whatever jurisdiction where their constituency is, and they try to get feedback and ideas and you know, just kind of learn as much as they can from the residents to figure out how to do a good job, and then sometimes that just stops. Well, very proudly, right, as Montgomery County residents, it's clear that with our leadership and our elected officials, that's not the case. Those tours continue, those conversations continue, and evidence of that is here tonight. So thank you to our esteemed council members. On behalf of County Executive Mark Elrich, thank you for being here. And most importantly, thank you, because your presence and your ideas is what's gonna get us to where we wanna be. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marilyn Balcom. I am the council district member for District 2, which is Germantown, Clarksburg, Poolesville, Barnesville, Boyd's, North Potomac, and Darnestown. So you are in District 2, and it's so nice to see so many familiar faces, and it's always great to see new faces who I haven't met yet. The Upcounty Regional Services Center is so great and so vast that you have 3 council districts that represent the Upcounty Regional Services Center, me, Councilmember Katz, and Councilmember Lutke. But we also have our 4 at-large, and I want to thank Councilmember Sayles, Laurie-Anne, for putting this on, these conversations are so important to bring the community together. I am on the Transportation and Environment Committee as well as the Economic Development Committee. I am the council's representative on the Transportation Planning Board as well as the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. And pertinent to what we're talking about today, I am the council lead for workforce development. So a lot of when we talk about youth engagement, when we talk about economic development, one of the sayings in the business world is we ask employers what's keeping you up at night, and most often the concern is the talent pipeline. And so when we look at worker shortages, when we look at bringing the economy together and couple that with youth engagement and economic resources for our young families, for our youth and young families, we really need to tap into the workforce development. And that is a partnership with MCPS, Montgomery College, University at Shady Grove. So I think that's an area that I want to focus on. And I think that the community conversation aspect of really looking at how do we get the community and the council more engaged. Every one of us has a newsletter. Please make sure that you're receiving newsletter. It's a good information, and also contact the council. We all have staff that deal with constituent services, and so contact any one of us, and we'd be happy to help you. Just 2 points about we have a long list of things that Laurie-Anne has put together. 2 points I wanted to make. One is from the public safety perspective, just to let people know that we are having the drone as first responder coming up to the Upcounty. We're very excited about that. It will be in Gaithersburg, but it will cover Germantown and Montgomery Village. So again, the 3 districts. So we're very excited about that. And then the other thing I just want to mention, we are hosting a back to school. I know it's hard to think about back to school when we just got out of school, but just save the date, September 27th. It's a half a day, and we're going to do it's a free event for middle school and high school students, food vendors, resource fair, athletic groups, SSL hours available, so that's September 27th. We'll get it out, but we want to make sure that we need to have more resources for our youth, more activities, and more ways to engage. And so this will be a great partnership. So we'll put it out on our newsletter. So thank you again, Councilmember Sayles. This is such a very important evening. Thank you.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here. I am Sidney Katz. I'm the District 3 council member. For those of you who are lucky enough not to know me, I was mayor of Gaithersburg for 16 years. I served on their city council, and I was born in Montgomery County, in Gaithersburg, as was my mother. And I have to tell you, Montgomery County has certainly changed over those many, many years, and it has been a few years for me as well. But when you stop and think, and let me begin by thanking Laurie-Anne, Councilmember Sayles, I guess we're going to be official here, for doing this evening, because, and when you follow Councilmember Balcom, pretty much everything that could be said has been, but I wanted to point out just a few other things. The topics that we're going to be discussing, hearing about this evening, really are something that needs to be blended together. No one segment is going to solve the issues that we have, whether it be crime or whether it be economic development. I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee. I also serve on the Government Operations Committee. And I can tell you that we all need to work together. My colleagues have heard me say many more times than they would ever prefer that a community is a family. And our family needs to come together more so than we've ever come together. And we've done a pretty good job over the years to solve these issues. Mental health is a huge issue, and things blend together. I always like to point out that the 3rd District of Montgomery County, and Marilyn started trouble over here that Laurie-Anne loves this other of the Upcounty more than any place, and I'm sure she does. But the 3rd District of Montgomery County, which involves Rockville, Gaithersburg, and Washington Grove, Both Gaithersburg and Rockville individually are larger than 1/3 of the counties in Maryland. Our population is the largest, Montgomery County's population is the largest in the state. And with that, we're very proud and we've done a lot of good things, but with that come a lot of issues. And as I close this out, you didn't come to hear us this evening, we came to hear you. But as I close this out, I'm going to ask for one item, please, one thing, is that if we could please give the first responders in this room, the police officers and firefighters if they're here, if we could please give them a round of applause. They never get enough thanks. And I can personally tell you each and every day they risk their lives for us and never get enough thanks for it. Thank you very much, Laurie-Anne, for doing this.
All right, so I just wanted to highlight a few of the subject matter areas. So community safety. As you can see from the slide, I just want to give a brief overview on the important work that the county's already undertaking to promote and enhance community safety at the county level. For example, this past budget, as you heard, we increased the number of mobile crisis outreach teams from 5 to 7. The Crisis Center receives over 40,000 phone calls annually, and these teams are critical for providing mental health support. We've also passed the late night business safety plan, which requires businesses that stay open overnight to develop a safety plan. We also provided a wage increase and a $20,000 signing bonus for new Montgomery County police officers during a national shortage of officers. So without further ado, we're going to hear from our police officers about the community policing work that they're doing to keep us safe up county.
Well, good evening, everyone. And I'm actually going to speak for the police department tonight because there's so much overlap in what we do. And so I'm joined here by Commander Brian Dillman from the 1st District, Lieutenant Carlo Gavassia, he's the 5th District, and I'm from the 6th District. And I'd like to thank Councilmember Sayles for inviting us to speak tonight and to speak about youth engagement specifically is what we were told. And just real quickly cover some of the things that we do. I think it's important, first off, to talk a little bit about our mission, because the mission of the Montgomery County Police Department is to safeguard life and property, preserve the peace, prevent and detect crime, enforce the law, and protect the rights of all citizens. Now, in order to do that effectively, we really do have to do it through community engagement, working with the community. And, we always are trying to improve our resources. They're stretched thin, and to make the most of what we have by partnering with other organizations in the county to do our community engagement. And to be honest, if you're going to engage the youth, you're really engaging with families, because it's the family unit that's so important that we need to focus on and have healthy in order to have kids that are well adjusted and doing well. So one of the big things we do, and we have it coming up with the Department of Health and Human Services, we have the Street Outreach Network, and they put on Summer of Peace events, and their goal is to support families and help youth avoid the pitfalls of gang activity, joining gangs, crime, and drugs. And so we go out with them to their Summer Peace events and set up and interact with the community on a personal level, because a lot of you see us driving around the streets in our cars and have zero interaction with us. So we like to get out in the community and have one-on-one conversations with people where they can ask questions that maybe in this forum they're not comfortable asking, but they can interact with us one-on-one and ask those questions in a more private manner and get some input from us that's helpful to them. One of the things that we started a few years ago with Chief Jones when he was at the helm, and back in 2020, law enforcement was going through a very rough stretch, as you all know. And he recognized we needed to have some sort of community engagement that gave the Montgomery County community an opportunity to come out and meet us one-on-one. And he started the Public Safety Day, which was a huge success. We had, I think, 40,000 people come through at the fairgrounds where it was put on. And really just give people an opportunity to see that we are real people too, and we're here to help and serve. So that was a big event that we've done for several years. We have National Night Out. It's the first Tuesday of August every year, where community associations create block parties and invite us out. So once again, we can interact with the community on a more intimate level. We also had the benefit of the Police Foundation. We work with them each year to put on Shop with a Cop, which is geared towards kids. The Police Foundation does a great job of getting gift cards for us to use with the local retailer and take kids that are needy, that might not have the Christmas we'd like to see them have, to go out and do some Christmas shopping on us. So it's a great opportunity to give children a chance to see that we're not scary. We're here to help. Another very important partnership we had with the Police Foundation and MCPS was the COPE trailer, which is the Community Opioid, thank you, Prevention Education Trailer. So as you know, fentanyl has been a huge problem in this country, not just our community. And the COPE trailer is put together to help educate parents on what they should be looking for when it comes to this drug use with their kids, the way kids hide it, the way kids, how it looks, the appearance of it, and tools or implements they use to consume it. The COPE trailer is one of those things that you can go online, you can make a request for it to come to your community or your event, and it enables us to help educate parents about the very real dangers that their kids are facing today in that area. Another program we have that's specifically for kids, and I'm very proud of, because I'm a product of it, is our Montgomery County Police Explorer program. So I've been on 31 years. I started with Montgomery County Police Explorers in 1985. So it's a program for youth between the ages of 14 and 20 that are currently enrolled in high school or college or vocational school. And they meet once a week during the school year to have classes on law enforcement, leadership, and just life skills. And it's a phenomenal way to have kids have an opportunity not just to interact with the police, but to have good role models and mentors in their lives. It can have a profound impact on them. I will tell you from my experience, my friend group in high school was completely made up of kids in this program. And it really helps you keep a focus on where you want to be and what you want to do and avoid some of the life pitfalls that would prevent you from doing that. We also started recently with the help of the county council. I thank them for creating the funding for this, the cadet program for Montgomery County, which is geared towards college students. And we're having a crisis in law enforcement with staffing, and this is a way to get young people before they're ready to enter the field, get exposure, and hopefully connect them with Montgomery County, so when they choose a career in law enforcement, they'll participate with us. And the great thing about this program is it is a well-paying job. I think it's $20.20 an hour. You can't beat that. And it's 20 hours a week, and it works with their school schedule. So it's just another excellent program for young people that we have. And I know my time is up, so I won't push it any further. But I have a table out here with these other officers and some of our people we have information on. At the end of the night, if you've got questions, please come out and see us, and we'd love to talk with you.
We also kind of talked about how many high schoolers in certain schools don't know. I go to Watkins Mill, and I definitely didn't know about all of the opportunities that we had to interact with the police. If anything, I feel like it's a bit hostile when it comes to police interactment, I guess. I don't know. And then for the second question, what should we be doing to make communities feel more welcome and safe? We had a comment at our table to economically incentivize students to stay engaged in school and keep out of trouble, bringing back things like the police athletic program, also bringing back other programs that allow police to be engaged in the community with students, elementary school students, for example. We had someone here that talked about her son who wanted to be a cop, but She hadn't seen many programs that allowed him to be involved and like talk to cops and like be with cops and be mentored by cops.
Yeah, so for the first question, I think that what surprised us the most is that there was no discussion of traffic and some of the accidents that have been occurring, maybe setting up traffic calming measures, maybe setting up more crosswalks so that pedestrians can be safe. And we also wanted to see a little bit of a deeper discussion concerning the graduation rate. So what happens to the remaining percentage that doesn't graduate? So maybe exploring absenteeism and some of the reasons behind that. What kind of absenteeism is it? Is it within the school or is it outside of the school perimeter? And for the second question, what can we do to make the communities feel more safe and welcome? I know that one of the gentlemen at our table had discussed his fears surrounding the drone program and just maybe feeling like perhaps his privacy would be violated and just getting more information out into the community concerning that.
Yeah, I think a lot of ours echo other people. The big thing was communicating information to the general public, not being aware of services and resources, which if you're in the know, you take for granted, but a lot of people don't know. Mentors was coming up, the presence of the police and not just police in different ways. Those were some of the things we thought could happen.
County focused on increased funding for the Youth Harm Reduction Initiative, comprehensively addressing youth safety challenges across county departments. We also supported programs like the Street Outreach Network, which organizes gang violence prevention programs and helps keep our youth out of trouble, especially during the summer. In MCPS, the Summer Rise program exposes youth to career and workforce development opportunities. You'll hear from them in the next session. And then my office is hosting 3 Summer Rise students. So if you're a small business owner, you know some small business owners, you have a business yourself, please look into the Summer Rise program. And so now we are going to hear from our county partners and stakeholders. And I see that we have someone here from the county state's attorney's office. They have a truancy prevention program, which we'll hear more about in a bit, and that aims to keep our students in the classroom.
All right, I'm a high energy person and I know it's warm in here, so I just wanted to bring greetings on behalf of Montgomery County Public Schools and channel my colleague, Mr. Steve Neff, who is a director in our Office of Wellbeing Student Services. I know Councilmember Sayles addressed the attendance issue in this district, and there is a multi-point plan addressing attendance for our students. Just to be clear, chronic absenteeism is defined by 18 or more days of being absent in the school year. So that's 10% of the school year, regardless of what the reason may be. And during the past school years, we have seen some great successes and a minor fallback. In many of our grade levels, we have seen a decline or a decrease in our chronic absenteeism by different levels of groups. So our pre-K, our elementary schools in particular have had the greatest decline of absenteeism. So if you have an elementary school student, congratulations, thank you for being a part of that positive trend. Our middle school students have had a nice minor decrease, but still a decrease all the same. And our high school students have had a very minor increase in their chronic absenteeism. As we look across the racial demographics of the student body, we have seen a decrease in each of the racial demographics. So I think that that's pertinent to share. As we look at the MCPS plan addressing attendance, and we really think about how can we create greater engagement of our students in the school and the student experience, and to really look at absenteeism as how do we increase that engagement, how do we avoid punishment, and really build the relationships within the school and the families to ensure that we know what are the needs of our students, what are the barriers for their ability to attend school, and then what can we do to address what some of those barriers may be. And pulling together a team of colleagues, so whether it be our school counselors, our PPWs, our administrators and teachers alike who know our students best, to work in partnership with our parents to ensure that we can engage them in our schools. When we think about student engagement, we also think about not only can we excite them within the school day, what they learn and how they engage with their teachers and staff, but we also think about many of our programs beyond the school day. And while I acknowledge many of our partners here outside of MCPS, I just wanted to highlight a few things that Montgomery County Public Schools is continuing to work on and provide to our students. So we actually sit in the home where the Montgomery County Volunteer Center is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the MCVC, but we work in partnership with the Montgomery County Volunteer Center to ensure that we have provided an array of student service learning experiences for our students to engage in their 75 service learning graduation requirement. That's 75 hours within the school and outside of the school day. And while we have courses that have service learning experiences built within, our students are charged with earning 25 hours outside of the school day. So we encourage our students to explore careers, think about some of the extracurricular activities that we provide, athletic and non-athletic, as that gives our students an opportunity to engage outside of the school day in activities of their own interests, create friendships, find mentors, and then certainly our office also works with our student leaders, much like Mr. Savarna, providing our students an opportunity to learn leadership skills that can be built within themselves to take on beyond the walls of our schools. So that's my time. Thank you, Ezra. And thank you all very much for your attention. I do have a couple of handouts, so if you're interested, please see me at the end of the close of the program. I'll be glad to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, how are we doing today? All right. Doing good? Okay, I'm not seeing too much energy. I can get it, I can understand it though. So I'm not gonna make you do it again. But my name is Pranil Suvarna. I'm the student member of the Board of Education, newly inaugurated, 1 week on the job. So fun fact about me is I actually also reside in Clarksburg. Currently am a rising senior at Clarksburg High School. So I am up here representing my school as well. But I just wanted to talk really quickly about some of the student leadership opportunities and youth engagement opportunities that MCPS has been offering especially out of the Ms. Cherry's office, like MCR, the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association, and then similar leadership experiences out of there. So MCR is, again, the Regional Student Government Association. I was the former vice president there, and it's a great sort of resource where students are being able to talk about the issues that they really care about and start to impact change within the issues that they care about. So we have, a very robust, task forces system, and it's a lot of different, systems in place to make sure that students are really able to put into practice a lot of the things that they're learning in classrooms. And so this combined with the fact of the other programs that MCPS is offering, like Summarize, it is really a testament to how much youth engagement we're working on in terms of civic engagement, and also in terms of making sure that as a school system and in partnership with the county, we're really focusing on giving students opportunities. So I was a former Summarize student, and I think that was one of the really impactful experiences that I've had that has really pushed me to be more civically engaged. And I think just talking about some of these experiences from a youth perspective of how well they can, how much of an impact they can have on a student's life is really important. And just wanted to commend everyone in this room today who's been, working on that. I know Miss Elaine Kim, if I pronounce that correctly, Miss Elaine Chang. Sorry, but I know she's been doing a lot of really great work with Summarize, so thank you so much for that. And just wanted to recognize that, but appreciate that.
If you are a parent in Montgomery County and you live in a neighborhood impacted by poverty, you should be very concerned about the well-being of your child. That's the reality. The people that suffer the most, the young people that suffer the most, tend to be black, brown, and poor. Identity serves between 10 and 13,000 families per year. We have never seen the level of despair, of isolation, of hopelessness in young people ever in the past 25, 26 years. In the youth development lingo, we talk about risk factors and protective factors. Risk factors is if you don't have friends, if you're isolated, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, if you don't go to school, if you don't feel welcome in school, all those are risk factors that then lead you to isolate yourself, and then you become prey from gangs, trafficking, etc. If you have a solid family, if you have a connection with someone in school, if you're doing well, if you're hopeful about your future, all those things are protective factors. After the pandemic, the risk factors have increased and the protective factors have decreased. When we talk about absenteeism, which is huge at the school, when we talk about mental health issues, substance use, we talk about violence, including bullying, those have always existed, but they're rampant now. And yes, Montgomery County has tons of services, but those services, there's two things about them. One is that they cannot meet the need that exists now, today, and people don't know about them. So, I see the number, 1 minute, okay. So, two things that I would say. One is, first we need to acknowledge the magnitude of the problem. We cannot say we have this, we have that, because we've had them for a while, and the situation is quite desperate. And second, we offer lots of programs that work sometimes in silo. We as a county don't have one strategy where all entities work together, where families work together with police, with MCPS, with HHS, with communities. We don't have that. So everyone is doing their thing isolatedly. That might not even be a word, but in an isolated fashion. And the last thing that I'll say is that the community has to be part of the response. It cannot be a second thought, because folks in the community have answers. We just need to listen to them. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Joseph Hooks, founder director of 40 Club. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Councilmember Sayles, for having this. I've definitely seen you've been invested in community voice, engaging youth voice, which is very key. I just commend you for the Youth Advisory Board that you host. I think everything we do should be youth-focused, youth-led. Youth engagement is really important because they are the now and the future. You know, my daughter's 2.5, and I have a three-week-old daughter. I would ask them, but I'm still paying attention, right? Not much sleep, so forgive me. But, you know, I think it's just very key to have this. Shout out to my table. Just want to piggyback on community safety. We just talked about identifying the neighborhoods and finding champions and winners like Ms. Adama that have the trust of the community to share these resources, to be a trusted adult that can communicate with key stakeholders. We know the neighborhoods. We know where the assets are. We know what the funding is. We need to spread it out and make sure people have trusted people to work with each other. Many of you may know who the 40 Club is, but started 11 years ago. It's the amount of minutes I spent working, training, and mentoring the youth. But then I've had the opportunity to expand and work in the Wellness Center at 4 high schools, do out-of-school time through MCPS. We were at 2 middle schools. You know, Collaboration Council, doing work with the Cider Mill. So I don't really want to talk much about myself, but I think what's really key is just getting this information out, having consistent funding and opportunity. You know, one of the things I see Street Outreach Network here, we should have more opportunity for safe spaces. It seems to be a strain to have our youth engaged in these places. I'm a big advocate for the Lake Forest development and a rec center, but I think we need your help to keep advocating for a place to be. When they're with us, they're safe. I know Donald Davis always says that, so that's very key. But ways we think we can get engaged, you know, I think, like I said, just go where they are. We know who's suffering, who's, you know, and I will always say this to, I think MCPS or the board, the streets have less requirements than we do. Every time we need to do something, oh, we need this, give me this form, tell me this, how many people in your household, give me this information. The streets are like, come on, man, sell this drug, take this, do that. We got to make it easier because we're competing with the streets, all right? So we got to have better access. I think the county does a good job on reaction, but we need to be, you know, proactive, preventative in the front. So not waiting for someone to check a box to say, oh, now we can help. You know, I was a student athlete. I fell through the cracks. I had my highs and lows, and I think, you know, we just need to continue to grow. And like I always say, my mom says, hide the medicine in the applesauce, as someone said, incentive-based, you know. I have a student athlete mentoring program where we have student athletes pour back into the community to teach the game of football. So find out what people are passionate about, and that's how they can give back. Get a stipend, get workforce development, be encouraged, care about your community, have a little kid be safe. So I think we just need to expand on that. Many schools, parents, teachers, kids ask me, how can I join? Well, sadly, I can only serve where I'm contracted. Otherwise, the county won't pay me for a picture or volunteering. You know, I have a family to feed, I have staff. You know, it's kind of like Diego said, we don't match the need. We need to look at where things are and put programs and services there, especially with our African-American community. I don't know where we can walk into a door and say, I need help. You know, I see the jails always open, right? Different things like that, but I think we need to continue to see and make sure things are equitable and accessible to everybody. And lastly, I would just say, you know, just transportation support. You know, I got 15 kids I need to take to PG County to play football safe on the weekend. I don't know how to get them there. And so we got a lot of resources, county fleet vans, trucks, vans, and stuff like that. I think we need access and support to help people who are running programs, Street Outreach Network, partner with them many times. But I know there's some parameters with the weekends and hours. So just that's it. I think we just continue to get you voice, continue to have these meetings, and just go to the neighborhoods and, you know, buy back the block. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Danielle Faro, and I'm a program manager for Street Outreach Network.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shania Levert, and I'm also a program manager for the Street Outreach Network. So the Street Outreach Network is an entity under Department of Health and Human Services, and our goal is to provide community safety through youth engagement, focusing on building relationships through outreach and also learning and providing trust with the youth to earn something called a license to operate, also known as the LTO. The way that our team establishes that is by going out into the underserved communities, by building relationships and being present in the community to engage with the youth, providing out of school time leisure and recreational activities. So through the Street Outreach Network, we have 4 different divisions. We have the school team, we have the street team, we have a safe space team, and we also have a new division called the Newcomers that serves the recently arrived youth within the last 2 years. So the purpose of our program is to help to redirect violent behavior with intervening vehicles such as opportunities for employment, resume building, community service, not just building relationships, but also fostering them. So a big thing for us is being in the community, not just working with the youth, but also wraparound services for the family. I hear a lot of people saying that we need things for youth to be engaged. Earlier in the presentation, we realized that there was an up score in youth violence, youth crime, and the biggest one was robbery. So what does that look like for us? We're out here trying to outreach and engage the youth so that we can give them the tools and necessities that they need to be able to be prepared for the future, providing with job opportunities. We recently hosted a job fair here in this very office a couple of weeks ago to provide the youth with opportunities to build their resume and provide them with different community stakeholders, jobs from around the area so that they could apply for and hopefully get the youth employment that they need. Just wanted to touch base. I know an officer had stated earlier that we have Summer of Peace events, so we hosted our first Summer of Peace event in Germantown Park. That was on June 14th, and I would like to invite all of you to our next Summer of Peace, which will be this Thursday, July 11th, from 4 to 7 p.m., and that will be held at the Upcounty Community Center.
So I just wanted to share a little bit more in reference to the different divisions that we have. I know Shania spoke about the street outreach, which is out in the communities and really being in the underserved areas, and so providing them with like extracurricular activities, picking them up from their homes and taking them to different locations, such as a boxing ring or area, you know, to take some classes, other activities with the partnerships with the recreation department, partnership with MCPS. Like we create so much partnerships with the community to ensure that the young people know that these are the resources available to them in their communities. In terms of the newcomers division, we are working with recently arrived youth who are coming or are running from violent homes in their countries, and so coming here to look for some safe spaces and safe havens, and so being able to provide that to them in their language, in their homes, to assist them in that and to allow them to see that there is an opportunity for them to feel safe in their communities. And so that's just some of them. Again, in school, we go in, we just started working with Bridges to Wellness to make sure that we are serving the in-school population in conjunction with the the community group. Thank you very much.
What else should we do to make our youth feel safer and more engaged in our school? I build more relationship with kids and teachers to be more approachable and encourageable. And as for what I mean for that is police officers to go in classrooms for us to feel safer, and instead of just seeing a cop car outside of schools.
So I am Shebra Evans, as it was stated earlier, and I currently serve on the school board. At our table, we were discussing the programs initiatives that have that we've heard positive feedback from our youth, and we talked about Summer Rise. So while Summer Rise only touches our rising juniors and seniors, it gives our youth an opportunity to have real world experience in a career to really make the decisions about what pathway they're going to take. So I think that's a really great opportunity that we have. We mentioned other MCPS leadership programs. And I'm going to I am also a mother of 2 student athletes, so sports play a key role in having positive impact on our students. And I'll just piggyback off of Mr. Hooks. You know, we talked about, some of the way that we can make certain that our youth are more engaged. You are absolutely right. Transportation is key. So as a board member, it has been really key to make certain that transportation has been available. But after COVID, that has not been existing. So we typically had activity buses for our students after school so they can participate in sports or any other extracurricular activities. So that has gone away. So we'll have to look at how we can bring that back, but it requires more resources. We heard from Diego as well earlier that we just are not able to take everything full scale, but out of school time is very important. While we can't provide that support for every student, we do allow students to, during half-day school days, during spring break, provide opportunities that are free for the students, because we know that's a barrier for some of our parents. So this is some of the things that we mentioned. The fire department has a leadership program, street outreach. We think that that's positive in our youth's lives. They are always coming to the school board and presenting and sharing what they do. So we just love our community partners. And then in terms of what more we can do to keep our students safe, outside of transportation, just providing a physical space that our students can gather. That was stated also, and just giving them more volunteer opportunities. I think the more they can have role models and mentors that are talking and speaking with them, just kind of having them share what they're thinking about. When they're not quite sure, just having somebody there to talk to them, to give them some reassurance, some guidance, and just having the models that look like them in front of them so that they can know what they can aspire to be if they don't see it often. So those are just a few things that we touched on our table.
So for Upcounty, I just need to plug it in because we work also with a lot of youth with the Upcounty Hub. And one of the biggest challenges, and I was sharing with our wonderful health officer, that although we have a lot of services, Upcounty is known for having a lack of services, especially in this area, and that is it's a huge challenge. So I was saying, for example, that the kids who need mental health services, the closest mental health services for a provider is Wheaton. So if transportation's an issue, you're going to need 7 buses to get down to the Wheaton Clinic, right? And it's not that our young people don't want to get served or children don't want to get served, but that literally means that a parent will have to take off from work for the whole day to be able to take their child to get services. So I just wanted to plug in some of the challenges. I was saying, like at Clarksburg High School, I'm a proud mom of the Clarksburg High School. One of the biggest challenges with our kids who live at the Middlebrook, which is the only mobile park in community, was the fact that you have a PTA meeting, back to school night, but the last bus comes at 7:20. Right? So you're not going to be able to go and take advantage of back to school night when you're going to have to be leaving as you're getting there. So again, we have a lot of barriers that we need to overcome. And the whole treatment we saw the increase in youth with treatment when it comes to the use of drugs. And unfortunately, we just do not have a program for young people who are under 16 who are addicted to opioids. We really don't, and that is something that we need to kind of work on. I know we're going to be doing something in Baltimore, but that is Baltimore, right? When we look at the youth here, when you do rehab, what do you need? You need your family to be able to come and do that with you. And so anyway, I just want to say thank you, Laurie-Anne, Councilwoman Sayles, and for tonight, because we have a lot of challenges, and then I share with our commander, and I know that we have a lot of shortages with the police, but guess what? Montgomery Village is an area that we need physical presence.
So as we discussed initially, in Montgomery County, there are 25,000 fewer jobs in the county than before the pandemic. One piece of legislation that the council recently passed was a $20 million special appropriation to create jobs and support businesses in our county. We have partners like WorkSource Montgomery, and the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, MCPS, Montgomery College, and the universities at Shady Grove, all crucial stakeholders in our efforts to ensure our residents have access to opportunities. And so now we're going to hear from Ms. Elaine Chang, Director of the MCPS Department of Partnerships, and our good friend from the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Councilmember Sayles, for having me here. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. I will stay for any parents, families that want to talk to me afterwards about anything that I might be presenting. I'm obviously going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on Summer Rise. I wasn't going to originally, but since it's been brought up a couple of times. So I am a proud graduate of Montgomery County Public Schools. I went to Georgian Forest, E. Berkeley at the time it was renamed, and Kennedy High School. I also was an athlete. I didn't speak English when I was in kindergarten. I became a teacher and an assistant principal in the Germantown area and a principal, and now I have the pleasure of doing the job that I do. I have always partnered and worked with people collaboratively for the good of the whole. It's in my blood. So to be able to do this job is like a godsend for me, and you know, I just keep serving society as best as the school system will allow me to serve and the county government will allow me to serve. So I'm in a newer position for our school system. It was created about 8 years ago. And I am the partnership director. The but part is partnership. Think about philanthropic funding is coming our way. Funding is already coming our way. So I'm not paying anyone for services. The funding has already come our way. Maybe Pepco. Funding's already come our way. And then we work with nonprofits, government agencies, higher ed to create a program. So the philanthropic community, Montgomery County is blessed with a lot of very philanthropic entities, and so I get the pleasure of working with them to try to create something. And so sometimes my work is guided by the donor and what they want to achieve, but all of it is serving underrepresented, under-resourced students all over our county. If you think about Montgomery County, the landscape is Poolsville and Damascus, Bethesda, Kensington, Germantown, Gaithersburg, Wheaton, Silver Spring, all over. And so I try to create opportunities all across our school system, K-12. Again, I have a teaching background, an education, athletic background, a teacher background, you know, so I get to wear all these great hats to serve our students. So I'll talk about Summer Rise real quick because a couple of you were asking me about that. That is a program for rising juniors and seniors. So if you're going into your sophomore year, your junior year, you can apply for summer of 2025. And this is a perfect example of the partnership. Oh, wow, one more minute. So I run Summer Rise. High school kids, 1,100 high school kids are with 250 employers all over the place right now, learning about 80 different industries, economic development, future employment. They might get scholarships from their hosts. That's great. If you're a high school student or you have a high school daughter, in the fall, I'm launching a free virtual after-school program to help Black and brown girls learn how to be entrepreneurs. So please stay and catch me. It's going to be free in the fall, free again in the winter, and they're actually Summer Rise hosts. I want to plant that seed. Other things that I do at the elementary level, I have found a company that adopted one school, some fourth graders, and they loop the fourth graders with the fifth graders. They have one-on-one mentors at a company to help the kids learn about careers in their company and also be an adult that cares about them in their life. So I get to do all sorts of really great fun things on behalf of students in our school system, and I am being cut off, so that is it. Thank you, and I will stay and wait for you. I will talk to anybody afterwards. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angela Lapadula. I'm the Director of Membership for the Chamber of Commerce in the Gaithersburg, Germantown area. I actually just wanted to mention just a few quick things. We partner businesses with other businesses and organizations in the area. We also take part in the RISE program, which is phenomenal. We held an intern last summer, and this summer both, and they're wonderful. They spend time with each and every one of us learning about our jobs and what we do. But we also build trust in the community with Coffee with a Cop series. So we do a lot with the public enforcers in the area and just building trust in the community. So I wanted to mention those few things. Check out our website and events because we have everything on there. But Coffee with a Cop is usually once per month. So thank you so much.
I think we have to be equitable across the board. I heard a lot of you guys talk about the RISE program, and I know the criteria for these programs are pretty high. You have to have certain GPAs. You have to fit a certain criteria. I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just know that a lot of the youth that we work with Street Outreach Network, are not getting these opportunities.
Here, so for Summer Rise, all of our students living in poverty have first right of refusal. I make sure all of our students living in poverty and all of our high schools get first right of refusal. They don't know I'm doing that. I'm doing that for them because I'm a true teacher. The county council and the county exec, they passed a budget in 2019 aligned with the launch of Summer Rise. Any Montgomery County school student right now, if you go get a youth cruiser pass, ride-on and WMATA public bus is free. So transportation is not a barrier. We make sure, my staff makes sure the kid can get to the opportunity, so access is not a barrier. On top of that, they get a stipend. On top of that, they get free professional clothing. So just wanted to share that. I'm happy to stay and talk to anybody.
Programs that have the most direct contact with the underrepresented students and ones that need it the most. So we kind of talked about that. I'm glad to see they get president if they apply. I've seen the meetings happen. I've walked the hallways and encouraged kids to go in there. I think he talked about the parents knowing about this. We got to door knock. We got to get in the community. We got to really say it. I just had one of my mentors text me about something. I just texted him, have you heard of Summer Rise? We'll see what he says. But it's a great program. You know, I'm totally a supporter. Next is communication on what programs are available. So the outcomes, the cost, the benefit, what are the metrics that are being that will yield the most benefit. We did brag about the MoCo CAP program. Shout out to Anthony Featherstone and his team. An example we wish we knew, MoCo Rec. So I talked about I had an out of school time contract at 2 middle schools, and working with the rec department, I was a host site, and I had 2 alumni of that school go to that middle school and work through Excel Beyond the Bell to get paid, because I didn't have the funding to pay them. But that was a way for them to get workforce development, give back to the community, and that was a win. But I mean, that's not guaranteed, or we don't know how long that can last. So looking at the host sites, if it's identity, the YMCA, the rec department, you know, all those things, like Summer Rise pretty much. So I think identifying where kids want to be. We talked about what else should we do to make youth more aware. So we said Summer Rise, equity impact, targeted students coming from underrepresented communities. Looking at if you're ineligible, like, hey, you're invited to this meeting, come learn about this. You know, not just kind of like labeling them, but just honoring them and acknowledging them as needing help. just, continue to be direct. Their offices, I know I met Sunrise Team, but actually small, right? It's only 2 people in regard to do the outreach to the schools. So I think they need to expand and get more funding to be in different parts of the county. Honestly, I think that's really key.
It sounds like Ms. Chang is supportive of that investment.
These kids need money. Like I said, I pay these kids in my program so they don't have to sell a half an ounce of weed or steal from each other or rob each other or do home invasions. And that's only a snippet. I think they're worth that investment to make sure that they can choose a positive pathway. And we need to allow them to choose, how they want to give back and work and build skills to build their resume and opportunities. So let's identify relationships, people trust who they trust, to have these opportunities to grow in the field. And many of the kids that did my SANT program, shout out to DHHS, they want to be coaches. They want to give back. They want to work for 40 Club. And I don't have the capacity or space to always do it, but having host sites and interns, things like that, I think will grow kids to invest in what they want to do and give back to their own community. So that's it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much again to our Upcounty Regional Services Center, Mr. Rosario. Thank you to our council members, my colleagues, Councilmember Katz, Chair of the Public Safety Committee, your district council member, Marilyn Balcombe, our commanders, our stakeholder partners who were here. If I can have all of our panelists come to the front, please, for a final picture. And then we also want you to scan this QR code. We'll be sending it out, but we want to make sure that if there's anything we missed, any additional information you didn't feel comfortable sharing in this space, please put your comments here. We read everything, and we will also be sharing a final report after the 5th and final community conversation to facilitate even better policy making and investments in your community. So thank you all again for being here. Have a wonderful evening.